How you wake up in the morning and like actually put that shit on?
The most polarizing prospect in the entire NBA draft has to once again be Lamelo Ball.
We the best.
It's very similar to 3 years ago when the most polarizing prospect in the NBA draft was Lonzo Ball, and that entire draft was weird in of itself. But what made things even a little bit more weirder is the emergence of LeVar Ball, and the Ball family became this like worldwide phenomena. At a certain point, I actually cared more about what LeVar had to say than what Lonzo had to say. It was just a very entertaining era for the NBA. And we all know what ended up happening with Lonzo's career. He would get drafted to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers made a huge deal out of it. They traded away D'Angelo Russell. Magic Johnson dubbed Lonzo Ball as the next great Los Angeles Lakers point guard and would ship him out 2 years later when Magic Johnson was no longer with the Lakers in order to bring in Anthony Davis. LeVar Ball came out and said the Lakers...
The worst move the Lakers ever did in their life, and they'll never win another championship. Guaranteed.
And the Lakers won a championship the very next year, and we haven't really heard much from LeVar Ball since. So what's going on, guys? Your boy Mike here, and today we're going to discuss a little bit of what's going on with Lamelo Ball, some recent info coming out about Lamelo Ball. Now, before we get to the content, I just want to let you guys know we just started a gaming channel. If you go over there right now, you see a video of De'Aaron Fox and I playing some NBA 2K. I'm going to leave a link in the description down below and in the end screen as well. On top of that, I'm going to live stream on Twitch later on tonight on twitch.tv/TheFlightMike, and our merch is going to go offline this Tuesday on TheFlightMike.com. Now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Guys, really quickly, before we get to the content, I want you to take a moment to pause the video and tell me in the comment section down below who is your current #1 overall pick in this year's NBA draft. I'm going to give you about 5 seconds to go ahead and decide that. All right, so for me personally, it has always been Lamelo Ball. And the reason why it's been Lamelo Ball is in the very worst case, at least you're going to have a name that's going to draw fans to the theoretical stands, because currently you can't really have fans in stadiums right now due to the current pandemic. But you get what I'm saying. Lamelo Ball is a very sexy name. He's going to sell merchandise. He's going to be very good for branding your team, especially if he goes to New York. And I have to tip my hat off to his marketing team, because his marketing team, and they even got me a little bit, began stirring up this rumor that Ben Simmons will get traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves, reunite with D'Angelo Russell, and in return, the Sixers would try to draft Lamelo Ball with the #1 overall pick. They even got me. I showed you guys the source in my last video. The trade made a lot of sense in my head as well. They even got me, I'm gonna admit it. But as the NBA draft draws closer and closer, we're hearing more and more information about Lamelo Ball. Now, the first piece of information comes from ESPN today, and it's the fact that the Minnesota Timberwolves met with Lamelo Ball today. This was the first interview that Lamelo Ball has conducted. He is tentatively scheduled to interview with the Golden State Warriors earlier next week. They have the #2 pick in the NBA draft, and the expectation is that Lamelo Ball will also interview with the Charlotte Hornets and Chicago Bulls, who are picking 3rd and 4th respectively. Now, it's not unusual for players projected at the top of the draft to decline to conduct workouts. Last year's top picks, Zion Williamson and John Morant, selected #1 and #2 by New Orleans and Memphis, respectively, only conducted interviews with the teams that drafted them. However, there is a little bit more uncertainty at the top of the draft this year. Last year, we knew it was a foregone conclusion and a formality that the New Orleans Pelicans were going to draft Zion with the #1 overall pick, and the Memphis Grizzlies were going to select Ja Morant with the number 2 overall pick. Another wild card over here is the fact that the Golden State Warriors are a contender, and they have the number 2 overall pick, and they've been running rampant with rumors surrounding all of them. As a matter of fact, it's really hard to tell who the Golden State Warriors are going to select this year, because no matter who every time I check my phone or check my sources, each and every source says that the Golden State Warriors are targeting a different player. One day it's Lamelo Ball, one day it's Anthony Edwards, next day is James Wiseman, next day is Denny Avdija out of Maccabi Tel Aviv. So, and most mock drafts right now have them taking Denny. So I really can't predict what the Golden State Warriors are going to do. However, if you ask me, I think they're going to take the best player available and try to package him in a trade for the future. Now, another piece of info that we got that I personally found to be very interesting, and I would actually think this is pretty true, because again, LaMelo Ball has an ironclad marketing team from my perception of things. And this is just a rumor, and the rumor is coming from the Charlotte Observer's Rick Bonnell. Now, something you should pay attention to here, because if the Charlotte Observer's Rick Bonnell is leaking this out, he possibly has an ulterior motive over here. And I'll tell you that ulterior motive after I give you the quote. Here's what I'm hearing from the league at large. LaMelo Ball is not performing very well at job interviews. I've heard that from multiple sources. He is not improving his perception via job interview. There are people drafting later in the top 10 who are not preparing for the possibility of Ball still being around. And I'm not saying that he will be a top 3 pick. I am saying that I know for a fact that there are teams later in the top 10 who are doing more research on him because they no longer think it's a given that he will be selected in the top 3. Now, Mike Mafia, I want to train you guys to cut cap for yourself and not always have to depend on me to cut the media's BS and get the facts straight from me, okay? Because I feel like it's very important to educate y'all into knowing when the media is lying to you and what the media's ulterior motive is in each piece of information they give you. If the Charlotte Hornets are picking number 3 and they need a point guard, and the Charlotte Observer's beat writer Rick Bonnell is leaking this out, chances are he just wants to hurt LaMelo Ball's stock. I wouldn't be surprised if the Charlotte Hornets told him to leak this out, because of course, if you want to draft LaMelo Ball, you need him to fall to the number 3 pick. And it's going to be hard for him to get past the first 2. You can make an argument for the Minnesota Timberwolves not really needing him because LaMelo Ball needs to be a little ball dominant. He shoots 30% from 3. They already have a good combo guard in D'Angelo Russell, and Anthony Edwards is a little bit of a better fit. Now, when you think of the Golden State Warriors, that might be a little bit more difficult because LaMelo Ball could potentially be a small forward that's switching with his teammates because he is 6'7", supposedly, but I know that might be an awkward fit. But again, the Golden State Warriors might just want a big name to potentially package with their other assets, including Minnesota's future pick and, of course, Andrew Wiggins, to get themselves a 3rd star. Now, who that 3rd star is going to be remains to be seen. You guys have seen my other videos, and I could go into whether it's Giannis Antetokounmpo, if I think it's going to be Bradley Beal, but at the end of the day, if you're on the line with the Golden State Warriors for the rest of the summer and maybe the first 3 months of the season, you're probably going to be more excited about trading for LaMelo Ball than trading for James Wiseman, at least from my perception of things, especially if LaMelo Ball is just going to be the Golden State Warriors' 6th man until he gets traded, which I'm projecting him to be. So you have to get through those 2 teams if you're the Charlotte Hornets and you want to draft LaMelo Ball, which is why I think that there's a chance that this could be Cap and he could be doing just fine in his interview. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think the significance of this is. Aside from that, I'm your boy TheFlightMike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.